I'm your host, Eric Hightower, here with my co-hosts, CJ Wilson and Curtis Killings. Today, my boys' attires are pink in support of breast cancer. Ladies, take care of your breasts, it's important. Today's show to start off in NFL news, we have the Patriots versus the Saints last night, Sunday Night Football. The Patriots took the win 30-27. Tom Brady and Drew Brees, of course, displayed good quarterback tendencies as always.
One of the best in the league.
But how do you guys feel about the outcome of this game? I know Tom Brady had a pretty bomb type pass towards the end that made them take the win. How do you guys feel about the overall performance from both teams and going on to the future from now?
Great game. They really gave the fans what they was looking for. 30-27. Tom Brady with a touchdown pass with 5 seconds left on the clock. He is Tom Brady. Yeah, look, that's a catch right there. The Patriots took Kimber Talkins. The Patriots go to 5-1, and the Saints lose their first game of the season. But as far as implications for the future, this could be a future Super Bowl matchup against the Patriots with the Patriots and the Saints. Both of them are one of the top teams in the NFC and the AFC. And Tom Brady just really showed that, hey, I'm still one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. Hello, Mr. Payton.
And I think that Tom Brady also and the Patriots overall are displaying just good transition because with losing Vince Wilfork on the defensive side of the ball and just having that presence to clog them holes up, they're having to replace guys like that. They're having to replace the Aaron Hernandez, the Gronkowskis.
Exactly.
These guys are.
That's what makes it more impressive.
Exactly. That's what makes it more impressive. And Tom Brady as a quarterback, just like that last play, he put the ball only where his player could catch it.
Accurate.
The defender couldn't have done anything different about that. You just got beat by a great skilled quarterback at that point.
They're still showing you that, hey, the only thing you need is a great quarterback and a great coach. You have Belichick and Tom Brady. What else more do you need? Belichick one of the greatest defensive minds in the game. He's showing that, holding the Saints to 7 points in the first half. So for the Patriots, when they get Gronkowski back, it's going to really start rolling.
Their offense will be
right. And then you got Kimber Tompkins, who's a rookie, an undrafted rookie. Once they get their NFL legs under and get more season during the season, it's going to be a real good go.
With that being said, there's a lot of replacements from the defense side and from the offense, and just for each team to go out there with Graham not having the best game for his fantasy game, and Tom missing Vince Wilfork, Rob Gronkowski, he's been in and out on the news if he's going to be back off the injury list. But just for Brady and Belichick to still be on that same page on the offensive side of the ball, for them to go out on the last minute and for them to execute the play and just come out with a win, it just shows, like you said, you had two out of the four best quarterbacks right there. But Brady just came out the winner on top.
And to touch on that Jimmy Graham situation, he was shut out for a reason. He had one of the best cornerbacks in football in Aqib Talib. This guy has really been showing his tail this NFL season that, hey, I deserve to be in that conversation with as far as a top 5 cornerback. He's shut Jimmy Graham down completely to 0 catches.
And that surprised me because as well as Talib making his presence known as a great cornerback, Jimmy Graham has also done an equal job of making himself known as a great tight end.
In the NFL and receiving yards.
He's arguably one of the best tight ends right now.
Arguably the best tight end in the NFL. Arguably with him and Tony Gonzalez and a healthy Gronk. Those guys are arguably the best tight ends in the league.
Okay, well that wraps up that NFL talk. On to college football. This weekend we have one of the biggest games of the season possibly coming up. We have Florida State, number 5, versus the number 3 Clemson. We got big names on the Clemson side of the ball. Sammy Watkins contributing to their explosive offense. Famous Jameis solely taking the Florida State offense on his back. How do you guys feel about the intensity and all the pressure that comes with this game?
Without a doubt, this is the biggest ACC game probably in ACC history. Besides the first Miami-Florida State game when Miami first came back to the ACC, that was a top 5 matchup. But as far as this game has national championship implications written all over. I said before, whoever wins this game right here will go to the national championship without a doubt. It's number 3 versus number 5 in Death Valley, one of the most hostile places in America. One of the loudest stadiums. It's crazy in Death Valley. They don't call it Death Valley for no reason.
Tell us about how this game implements like Heisman expectations and performance.
On Heisman implications, you have Taj Boyd. He sits right up under James Winston at 73% to 71% on completions. But to get back to the main factor, because this, like you say, CJ, this can be whoever wins this game can get you to the national championship. I know you guys been waiting for it, but this here is your ACC championship. And to me, I believe that this game is going to come down on both sides of the ball, and not just under the quarterbacks, but which player can make the extra play. Because you have 2 great quarterbacks here. They've been the Heisman runners all season.
Without a
So
doubt.
they're going to go out and they're going to do what they need to do as quarterbacks and the leaders on this team. But on the defensive side, who's going to make the big play? Who's going to put more pressure on to either one of those quarterbacks?
Exactly.
But it's going to be tough for Florida State going to Death Valley, as you said, CJ. But it's just going to come down to what we had with our NFL quarterbacks. Who can manage the ball? Who can have clock management? And that's what I feel is going to be like one of the best keys.
To me, Florida State
keys
versus
of this game.
Florida State versus Clemson. It's just it's a lot of intensity coming into this game. It's comparable to how the Florida State versus Florida rivalry is,
Alabama,
and
LSU.
how the Alabama LSU or Florida Georgia, and just with the game being known as the Bowden Bowl, just because of the coaching from years in the past. Just leading up to this game, the intensity is just great for college football. And like Curtis and CJ both agreed on, I think we are watching a brief summary of how the ACC Championship could go.
Without a doubt, it's always saying going to big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games.
Right, and
So
let's elaborate on some of these electrifying players. For one, on Clemson side, you got Sammy Watkins. Like this man here, he makes very little mistakes. He's going to go out and he'll hurt you. In a quick second, just stepping up to the line, and if you guys not going to be able to put pressure on Taj Boyd, him and Sammy Walker, they're gonna excuse me.
We'll see.
Without a doubt, that the curse on the side.
Also aside, because I've been waiting on this good ACC football all year, and now that it's come, it's
Without a doubt,
right
I
here
think
before us.
the big key to the game is how can Jameis Winston adapt to this environment? It's prime time, 8 o'clock, national TV, a top 5 matchup in Death Valley, a hostile environment against. Without a doubt, Florida State has. Let's be real, they haven't had any competition this whole season, dominating the entire season. It's not their fault they're just that good. But you have Florida State and Clemson. These guys are going to go. They're going to go blow for blow. Can Jameis Winston step up to the plate and make that play at the end of the game, or not make the mistake at the end of the game to win the game?
Okay, CJ, but we'll see what goes down this Saturday night. But on to some tragic news. Adrian Peterson loses a son. He still plays. Sports Corner could take a moment of silence for his son. So.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. I mean, Adrian Peterson's son. If you guys didn't know, this is the story. Adrian Peterson, 2-year-old son, got basically abused to death by his stepfather. His mother was off to work and he was alone with the kid. He basically beat a 2-year-old son to death. And this is the text message that Adrian Peterson sent before explaining why he's not playing. My brother passed the night before the combine, and I decided to go through it. The same reason why I would play this weekend. Me ask why God wants us to come from. I'm sorry. You may ask why God wants why God wants good to come from. We mourn and grieve, but in heaven heaven had the baddest welcoming party for my son. The knowledge gives me peace, and I'm still hurt and feel the pain of life, but I'm able to function because of the peace and knowing that my loved ones are in a much better place.
I think that just says a lot about Adrian Peterson as a man, and how well he can adapt and transition to certain things.
That really shows how much of a peace of mind he has in knowing that, hey, everything's going to be all right, and it's a higher learning.
As I'm pretty sure everybody up here is an Adrian Peterson fan, and we know what he can do out on that field. His physical ability, just coming off an ACL injury, not just his physical ability, but it's him mentally, because this here is obviously it's a sickness situation and it's degrading.
Without a doubt, Adrian Peterson is one of the most mentally strong persons I have ever encountered. I mean, and I was kind of on the fence of him playing, but reading that text message, that really shows hey, he should play this game, and he has an understanding that hey, everything happens for a reason, and that it's a good thing that comes out of the situation. Having his son, like I said, Heaven is having the baddest party for his son right now. He's in a better place.
From Sports Corners, our prayers go out to the family of the Petersons.
All right, we got up next Chiefs and Broncos, still the only 2 teams left undefeated in the NFL right now.
6-0.
6-0. Both teams are 6-0. Broncos had a big win last night, and the Chiefs had a big win also. So how do you guys feel about?
And the crazy thing about it, this is the only 2 teams left in the NFL, and they're in the same division.
Exactly.
So they got to see each other twice.
They got to play each other.
So,
go ahead.
So both of these guys played each other twice this year. But looking down the line, as far as who can give these teams the biggest challenge for the Broncos, you have the Colts. This upcoming week was going to be a really big game. Peyton Manning playing against his old team, you better know that the Sheriff is going to have a big day
Once
against
again,
those
we got
guys.
the battle of the quarterbacks, battle of the QBs.
Without a doubt, but we know who's better in that situation. And then you have the Kansas City
Can't
Chiefs.
knock Andrew Luck and Reggie
He's
Wayne
a
for what
great
they're
quarterback,
doing.
but
Them two, they're connected with their numbers. And Andrew Luck, you know, he's changed that whole franchise around them. But once again, this is a
Now, let me correct you. Andrew Luck didn't change the franchise.
The franchise was already intact.
Andrew Luck took over shoes that were already filled.
Tell me what the record was before Andrew Luck got there.
The year Peyton Manning was out, what was the record? 2-14.
They still didn't have a quarterback. They still needed
that.
They still need somebody to come out.
That same team the year before that won that division and went to the playoffs, and that shows you
Peyton Manning.
Exactly. A playoff team going to 2 wins from losing 1 player. That shows you.
Speaks for itself. But
for the Colts, for the Broncos, they have the Colts coming up. They have Kansas City at home, which I have them winning that game. Then they have the Patriots, was at Foxborough, was going to be a tough game. And then I have them at KC. I have them actually losing maybe the Kansas City Chiefs game, the one at Arrowhead Stadium, and possibly the one at one in Boston against the Patriots. But for the Kansas City Chiefs, they have an easy slate coming up. They have the Houston Texans, who are far from disappointing this year, the Cleveland Browns, the Buffalo Bills, and they have the Broncos, which is going to be, like I said, a tough game, but it's at the Broncos. I have them at Arrowhead Stadium.
I understand. All right, Sports Corner Q&A section, right?
Let's go. With the questions.
Who do you think will win the American League in baseball, the Detroit Tigers or the Boston Red Sox?
I think the Red Sox will end up winning the American League. I feel like they're ready. They're first of all, they're seasoned vet. They've been in this situation before, been in the playoffs before, won World Series before. So I believe that these guys are ready to go. You have Big Papi, Big Papi hit a grand slam last night. I mean, a grand slam, that rarely happens.
The best play in baseball.
The best play in baseball, exactly. The grand slam. So I mean, these guys are poised to go. There's the play right there. The grand slam out of the park. And these guys can't. And you gotta wonder what the morale is for the Detroit Tigers. These guys were up 6-0 5-0 in the 6th inning, in the bottom of the 6th, and gave it the game 6-5. So I mean, that got to really hurt your morale, knowing that you had the game in hand and you let it slip out your fingers.
All right. Well, I hope that answers your question. Question number 2.
Who will make the playoffs for the Eastern or Western Conference in the NBA?
The NBA, man. Talk to me, Curtis.
Which conference you want first?
Whatever you want to get.
I'm gonna go with the East. From the top 8, this is not an order for all you fans out there, NBA fans on the Eastern Conference.
We don't want any hate mail.
But my top 8 going to the Eastern Conference players, I have Miami. You got to return to Derrick Rose. Indiana, they're gonna bring back the field with Roy Hill, but I'm pretty sure he's coming back healthy this year. And hopefully Danny Granger, he can help implement to their playoff season this year. Mm-hmm. I got Brooklyn. We already know about the top 3 with the exchange of the coach, Jason Kidd. He's coming over there. He's going to be leading that squad out. I wanted Milwaukee. You had a couple trades with O.J. Mayo, and they implemented Caron Butler at the small forward.
Mm-hmm. And Brandon Knight.
Brandon Knight as well. I still think Boston can get in there just because that's Boston. You know, they always playoff contenders.
I'm not sold on it, but go ahead.
Cleveland. I have Cleveland Cavaliers.
Without a doubt.
Kyrie and Andrew Bynum. I'm expecting to see big things out of you guys. And for the young guys, I have at number 8. I'm going with the Washington Wizards.
I like that pick of the Washington Wizards. Those guys are primed for it. But as far as the East, let's be honest. Besides these top 5 teams, we have the Heat, the Knicks, the Pacers, the Nets, the Bulls.
After that, really.
The Heat. After those 5 teams, the East falls off dramatically. I mean, it doesn't matter who gets in. I mean, the Bobcats get in for all I care. Out of those top 5 teams, those are the guys who's going to be primed for the championship. But as far as you can have, I like the Cavs. They have a young Kyrie Irving who's a prime superstar. Andrew Bynum, when healthy, is one of the most dominant centers in the league.
When mentally on the right path, he can be arguably one of the best centers, I say, mentally wise. When he's on the right, like his offensive game, like he implements a lot inside the paint. He crashes the board.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's just a mindset thing and an injury thing. Andrew Bynum and a big sleeper for their backup point guard. They were inside Jared Jack from the Golden State Warriors, which was a big deal. I mean, he came and gave Steph Curry some big minutes off the bench, and basically a starting point guard. They basically had 2 starting point guards.
So, go ahead.
I was going to talk about the West, but y'all can finish up.
Oh yeah, with the Wizards, like you say, they was one of the best teams in the NBA last year when they got their star point guard back. So when those guys get healthy, when he's healthy, those guys will really make some noise.
They have a lot of good role players over there. Like one, for instance, who I seen go both on the east and the west side is Trevor Reason, man. A lot of people sleep on that young guy, man.
I feel like he brings to the game.
Yeah, I feel like he'll help, contribute baskets and just be a good overall player playing for the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, and for the West, I have my top 8, and I have a number 9 as a wild card. They could easily be in the top 8. This is not any order by any chance. I have the OKC Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, the Denver Nuggets, the Golden State Warriors, the Houston Rockets, the Clippers, the LA Lakers, the Grizzlies, and the Dallas Mavericks, who just recently signed Monte Ellis to go along with the Dirk Nowitzki. Those are 2 scoring machines.
It's very positive. I always felt like Dirk Nowitzki needed that extra help.
Oh, yeah,
and I feel like that with that player added to that team, that'll just be great for Dallas, and maybe they can be back in that NBA Finals run.
It's going to be real tough because, the West is lock and loaded. OKC, they're prime. I have a question with OKC because now the news came that Russell Westbrook has had more surgery and he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. So that's going to be tough on OKC to have that be in contention for.
He'll be ready come postseason.
Oh, he'll be ready, but as far as like the top seeds and how seeding may be arranged, it's going to be tough to see how those guys will be seeded. And then you have the San Antonio Spurs, who felt like they should have won the NBA championship at Game 6 against the Miami Heat. Those guys feel like they have something to prove and want to get back to the championship. You have Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan, and the great coach himself and Greg Popovich. Those guys are seasoned veterans.
I just feel like the West kind of outdoes the East when it comes to talent.
Without a doubt, you had those top 5 in the East, and those last three teams, those guys are, without a doubt, if they was in the West, they wouldn't even be in the top 12 in the West. Those guys are basically college teams.
I want to say it's just more. I say that it's more names out there than like the players, which helped build the competition in the West. Because as you name those first 5 teams under Miami, Chicago, Indiana, Brooklyn, and who you could put Boston in there. Like after those teams, the East is just pretty much done.
Yeah, and to touch on your Boston point, those guys can make the playoffs because how weak the East is. But as far as being a serious threat of being contenders, not at all. But those guys can make the playoffs just because the East is a very weak conference. And then I like the Lakers. Depending on what Kobe Bryant has coming back, he said if they had a playoff game today or tomorrow, he'll more likely be playing the game. So that's good news for Laker fans that he's, I guess, getting back in that mode of being healthy. And you have a healthy Steve Nash that has something to prove, and Pau Gasol, who's going to be the focal point offense in the post, who's way more skilled in the post than Dwight Howard. That's going to be real interesting.
Losing a good defensive player on a test over to the New York Nets, how does that fall for the Lakers defense? Are the Lakers still are they still gonna have that depth coming off the bench to help them be high competitors and actually set a good pole in the West?
Without a doubt, Ron Artest was a great defensive player, but let's be real, he's getting old and he's lost his step. He's not the same explosive and athletic Ron Artest that we come to know with the Pacers or he was with the Bulls. They went inside a young Nick Young who was a bona fide scorer who could score the ball 10 times more better than Ron Artest, more athletic on the wing. But it's all going to come down to Chris Kaman. Can he also adapt to the Mike D'Antoni offense, the guy who they signed to replace Dwight Howard?
I don't know. We'll see. But on the question 3.
No, I'm sorry. It was on the 2 questions. It was on the 2 questions. I'm sorry.
2 questions.
Yeah, let's roll on to the top 5 of the show. Okay. How do we not talk about the Los Angeles Clippers?
Oh, okay.
These guys like the forgotten team out there. They went inside Doc Rivers, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. These guys they're also ready to go. And
I think this Blake Griffin, man. What we have last season? Lob City.
They won Lob City.
But besides the Lob City and the whole DeAndre Jordan, those guys, they're gonna go out there. They're gonna give you the highlights. But what we need from DeAndre Jordan is for him to be the premium player in the good overall season. Because if you look versus the playoff season versus Memphis, he hardly had any minutes, and he barely it's rare that he did anything to. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's where we just need DeAndre Jordan to be the center, but that's where I feel like Doc Rivers will be the Hall of Famer coach that he's going to be one day, and I think he's going to help he's going to help bring a lot to that team on the leadership and just the coach that he is.
Without a doubt, that Doc Rivers I believe he's out of him and Popovich, he's the best coach in the NBA. But you have DeAndre. Then they signed. This is a real big pickup for a guy of Chris Paul caliber. They went inside Jared Dudley and JJ Redick. I mean, two sharpshooters. We all know about JJ Redick, the historic career he had at Duke. But as far as a sharpshooter, he was a great shooter in Orlando. So those guys, a slasher and a penetrator like Chris Paul, if he kick it out to those guys in Lob City, you have 3-pointers and dunks. That's how you win games.
My main focus is on DeAndre Jordan. Like he's a 7-foot center. He's athletic wise, but I want to see him go back to the basics and just be the more physical attribute of a true West Coast center that you got that's been produced out there in the West.
All right, well, on the Sports Corner's top 5 plays of the week.
Number 5, we have Marcus Murray of Missouri against Georgia. Great run.
Great win.
Catch his feet together. Oh yeah, great win for Missouri, even though they call it Georgia on the end. At number 4, we have Kevin Norwood of Alabama. Look at this catch. Over 2 defenders.
2 defenders. Goes up, catches the ball at the highest point. It's just great wide receiver display.
And at number 3, this is kind of a doubleheader. This happened on back-to-back plays. You have a 50-yard pass from Taj Boyd to who? Who other than Sammy Watkins? And on the next play, the next play from scrimmage for Boston College, you go 70 yards to Alex Emendard. Look at this. I mean, you couldn't ask for more excitement than that. Back-to-back big plays. Roll on to number 2.
Big Papi.
The grand slam from Big Papi. Out of the park.
Oh, grand slam,
he
best
missed
player in
the catch by
baseball.
just that much, flipped on his head. I mean, the best player in baseball. And it's playoff atmosphere. Let's go on to number 1. And this is the Tom Brady pass to Kimbrell Tompkins with 5 seconds left on the clock to win the game against the New Orleans Saints.
Great throw, great catch.
Clutch himself. Tom Brady, man. Arguably the best quarterback in the NFL.
It almost feels odd not having Famous Jameis on our top 5.
Yeah, he had a bye week this week, so hey, we'll see Famous Jameis next week maybe.
Sure, he'll be here next weekend. But we've covered a lot from the Patriots to the Saints, the FSU versus Clemson battle, Adrian Peterson's situation, the Chiefs versus the Broncos.
Battle of the undefeated.
The question section, the top 8 seeds from each side, the East and the West. Sports Corner's top 5 plays of the week. We hope you enjoyed today's segment. See you next week.
Make sure you wear your pink.
Breast cancer awareness. Be aware.